Hello, this is Noreen from Joy of Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. Also, I give away the demo card, so if you're a first-time subscriber, put your email in the comments, and I'll email you back and let you know if you won the card. Also, make sure you watch the video all the way through, because you never know. I might give the card away to anyone, or I might be doing card kits or swaps or something. So anyway, now let's go make a card. Today's video is all about how to put together the Give It a Whirl dies. Now, this can be a little intimidating when you look at it because there are 21 dies. And what do? That's a very good question. And by the way, it's in the annual catalog. It's on page 57. And what it is a card that you can move the wheel and different images show through the window. It's really kind of cool. So you've got all these dies here. Let me tell you, this is the die that's the front of the card. And when you die cut it out, it looks like this. Now, if you notice, and I don't know if you can tell in the video, there is quite the impression going across here, and it's from the bar. And this bar is really there for that hole because you need to use a brad to make the wheel turn, right? So it's got this image here, this impression here, and there's a couple of ways you can kind of get around it. One of the ways is you just cut the same size card. Now this is a 3 3/4 by 5 3/16. It's not 5 1/4. If you notice, these match up perfectly, and if you did 5 1/4, it's just a little bigger. So it's 3 3/4 by 5 3/16. And I'll put this in the body of my video. If you go to the description and click on show more, it'll show those dimensions down for you. And anything that you see here will be in the description of my video. So you can click on the die set and it'll go right to my Stampin' Up! Site. You can place an order and all things like that. Also, I will give away a mystery demo card. There's no card making here because we're putting the bones of this together. But I will give away 2 mystery cards. If you're a first-time subscriber, just subscribe, like, put your email in my comments, say you want to win a mystery card, and you have to leave your email. If you don't, I can't talk to you. So leave your email and I'll get back with you and get your address and mail that out. But I'm only giving away 2, and only new subscribers. So in order to make this card, you cut it out, that 3 3/4 by 5 3/16, and you take it under here and take a pencil and draw that half moon, and then also put a little thing in the middle there so you know where the middle is. So you've got that, and then take this die here. This is one of the window dies, and you line it up. Mind where the cutting is. You line it up with that circle like that, and this is what you get. So that's one way to get rid of that divot. Another way is to take layering circles, and this is the second smallest one. Now with this one, using that window circle, it kind of made a little stitched edge where the rest of it isn't stitched. So if you don't like that, you can take this layering circle, do the same thing with the pencil, but this time use this die and it will make a smoother cut. Another way is to emboss it. So go ahead and cut your piece first and then emboss it, especially one of those 3D embossing folders. And boy, you cannot, unless you knew that was there, you're not going to be able to tell that it's there at all. So that's the third way. The fourth way is to use a busy piece of DS paper. And boy, you can't see it at all. Unless you put it like in the light, you cannot see it. So there's 4 ways to get rid of that. And actually, there is another way. So let's go ahead and jump to these dies here. These are the window dies, and what they look like is, here's the circle. Away for a moment just to show you what that looks like. That's the circle. This is the rectangle. This is the heart. And this one is like the triangle. So there are 4 windows that you can put in the card, and the windows are this piece here. So there are 4 of them, which brings me back to hiding this little divot. If you put your window, like this one here, right over that divot, obviously it's going to get rid of most of it. And if you look in the catalog, you can tell that's what they did here. They put it right over that divot, and then they put their big element right over the other half. So you can hide it without having to, you know, emboss it or anything. So you can do it that way. They also use dark colors. That's another way to get rid of the divot. And the reason why I'm using white is to show you how much of that divot is actually there. So these are the 4 options for the windows. Now how they work is you take your die here, and I would cut it first. You can do both at the same time, and I've tried both. I would rather just cut it. Then take this, turn it down, line up the holes together here and tape it. Tape it and run it through your die cutter, and this is what you're gonna get. So that's how these work. Now let's talk about the mechanism. This is the circle that actually turns. So this is this piece here in the middle that turns. And it's hard to tell in the video, but there's actually a divot on these too in this impression. So the best window really to use is this one because it lines up all the way, but the other ones are fine. You just kind of have to be creative with it. So this is what turns. And these windows, you can actually use them as just embellishments anyway, because you've got the positive and the negative. This is what makes the window, but these are a result as well. You can use this as a sentiment tag, or really any of them, but there's a heart and circles too, and we'll get to that circle in a few minutes. So it can do a positive and a negative. So keep that in mind when you're creating your cards. Now let's talk about these dies here. Most of them are just embellishments, but let me show you what they look like. Here's the positive and the negative of all these dies right here. Now you got a sentiment tag, that's great. I also, when I organize my dies, I have boxes that have dies that either have a sentiment, a shape, or a word on them, and I keep them in a particular box. So if I'm doing a card and I need a particular size of a sentiment tag, I know that they're all together and they won't get lost. So there's a sentiment tag, you got some hearts, some stars, and they all come out by themselves and they're all stitched. And this is a great thing to do when you get a new die set, is you just cut them all out and actually physically look at them and see what they do. Like these 3 here are just indents into the paper. There's no positive, well, there's no positive to it, it's just the negative. So this is all that it does. And these are great to put on the side of your mechanism here if you want to put those indents right here. Also, there are arrows, and this is this tiny little die right here that is an arrow, and those are great for the same thing. And then we get this die that I have absolutely no clue what it's for. If anybody knows, please put it in the comment. I would really like to know. But what it does is it makes these little circles right here, or you know, you got your positive and negative on the circle. So that's okay. It's like, all right, we've got those. And then, by the way, the stars here, there's 2 star sets. They're exactly the same. They sometimes do that. They'll throw you something exactly the same just to drive you crazy to go, well, what's the difference? But there is none, as far as I can tell. So, and then we've got this die here. What this die does is it makes this cut, and it makes this circle. Now with that cut, which is right here, what I'm thinking that they're doing, and I know that what they're doing is they're doing an outline for this circle. Now mind you, this is just a little bigger than the cut circle on the card. Now for this, it looks kind of cool because black and white, you know, that's a cool look. But if you didn't want that to show, yeah, it's gonna show. So that's what that does. And then you've got this circle here, which is the negative, which we could also use for something that's coming up later. But you've got circles. Circles are very useful when, you know, you're making stuff. And these as well, these little dots, you can use it as a dot for a letter or something. But those are always good to know that they're on your die. Now that you know what the dies do, let me show you how they all go together. So you want to start out first of all with picking whatever fits in the window of this wheel here, because it's not a very big piece. In fact, this is the biggest out of all the 4 of them. So this is going to be the easiest. Plus, there's that impression of that same shape here. So I'm just going to use that because it's the easiest to explain. Another thing you want to do is you do want to make a template of this particular shape. Now I can go ahead and just use the one here, and I'm going to put it right over the window of that impression. Okay. Now, if it's something real intricate, I would use some temporary adhesive and put it down and hold it on there. But since I'm doing something really simple, I'm just going to hold it. So I've got it over there exactly. And then I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to put the stamp right there in the middle. So this is a great way to know it's not going to interfere with anything else. So we'll go ahead and do all 3 here. And it is a challenge to find things that will fit in the window. So, and then of course when you're doing letters, make sure that they're facing toward the middle instead of going the other way. They would be upside down. And then let's take the rabbit, and I'm going to put the rabbit right there. So that's how you can make sure they all fit in the spot they're supposed to. The next part is getting your brad. Now we have round and square brads, and they're black and white. So we'll grab a black one and go ahead and put it through the card front, and then you're going to put it through the wheel. Now here's another really important step to do. If you put this onto your card base right now, we're going to buffer these, of course, but sometimes this wheel gets stuck. So there's a trick for that. Remember those circles I was telling you about? Well, take one of those circles that is from one of the dies and go ahead and punch a hole with, like, you take a pick tool or something, just like in the middle there. And then on the back side, put on your dimensionals. And what this is going to do when you feed this through here is it's going to buffer with the card. So there's just a little extra buffer keeping the wheel from rubbing against the card base. Now that you've got this piece on here, the next thing we're going to need to do is we need to bumper up the card front. So the best thing to have is the foam adhesive strips. I think they're just the better thing to use. But you can cut, if you don't have those, you can use your foam adhesive sheets, or you can use dimensionals. But this is actually kind of the better way to go. So go ahead and bumper those up. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Now I've got all the bumpers put on and all the tags ripped off. I'm going to put it on a base. And my base is going to be 4 by 5 3/8. Because this top piece is just a little odd. And then I'm going to take my card base, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4, and just nail that on and put it there in the middle like so. And that's the bare bones on how to put this together. Don't forget that little circle underneath the mechanism with the dimensionals. Don't forget to mask off and stamp into your thing. So that's basically the card. So, and don't forget, you can win a mystery card. So put a comment, like and subscribe first, put a comment in with your email address, and you could win the demo card. I'll talk to you back and get your address and put it in the mail if you're the first 2. So that'll do it for me. Thanks, bye.